So you've heard me talk several times in prior to Carroll about this issue of state overreach, state mandates and positions on some of the counties in Maryland, particularly the rural ones. And it manifests itself in different forms. Sometimes it's legislation. Sometimes it's just regulations. Things like cannabis is a great example. I understand the legalization of cannabis took place, but now we're being told how we have to sell it. And Maryland Blueprint's another great example. We've talked a lot about that here, where we're being told how to spend our money and how to operate a perfectly good school system and what to do if we don't accommodate those edicts from the state. We don't really know yet. We do know that a couple years ago we were told we were good and it wasn't going to cost us a dime. Now we're told it will cost us millions. And on that topic, I want to again thank some of the local news outlets and concerned parents for Carroll County for highlighting this issue with the current superintendent, who I personally hope his contract is not renewed because he has
state superintendent.
State superintendent at the state level. Thank you for that correction, because he's reigned over some declining scores, and we'll see where that goes. But the reason I bring this up, and again, some other mandates and regulations, things like building, and if you're trying to build in the county, you see all the hoops and hurdles you have to jump through. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because last April, I'm not sure if people are aware of it, but the General Assembly did pass a law which is going to allow the Maryland state attorney, it's going to be a Maryland attorney general, who is an elected official, by the way, elected political official, to prosecute all incidents involving police that resolve in an injury or death. The previous process was that the state would review things and then it would be up to the county prosecutors to decide how to go forward. And that was changed in April, even though 23 of 24 county prosecutors opposed it. That still went through. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because this week the Maryland State Attorney has asked for the funds to hire people to do just that. It's my opinion that, if you can't defund the police or you can't undercut the police in a lot of ways, one effective way to do that might be to completely take local control out of those types of issues. And that's a real shame. And that bill did receive a lot of opposition, particularly from our own delegation. I'm proud of them for that. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because you see the incremental sort of slow pace of how things are progressing at the state level down towards the county level. I happen to think we're a sovereign county in a lot of respects. I mean, we run our own county, but you've seen me mention this quite a few times. I just gave a few good examples. And the reason I bring it up is because it is something that people have to start paying attention to in the county. When you're looking at some of the decisions we may or may not be forced to make in the county, you need to remind yourself and you need to be knowledgeable of the fact that they may not be our decisions, they may not be our ideas, it's things we're having to deal with. So as we move forward, I think this is going to become a bigger issue for this particular board, and in particular a lot of the rural counties that are going to have to suffer the consequences of some of these things. And this issue with the Attorney General of the state of Maryland being able to have full authority over how those types of issues are prosecuted or not prosecuted at the county level is frightening. And when the bill passed in April, you could see the look on people's faces, particularly a lot of the rural delegations, their concern over that. So pay attention to this not so slow pace of overreach, in my opinion, from the state level and these types of mandates, and realize that they do affect you. They are going to affect our county, and we're going to do our best to navigate it. But you need to understand what these issues are, and you need to make sure that the folks you're electing and the folks you're talking to are willing to fight for your county, because that is exactly what it might take, either as legislative or executive, legal. You've got to have people that are willing to stand up to some of these things because they're not good for our county. I think we have a pretty darn good county. We got a great school system. We got a great sheriff's department. I mean, what about our county? I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And the numbers don't lie. So be aware of that moving forward, and that what happens in Annapolis really does affect what happens here, and that's never been more true now. So.